When you want only the best for your pet, check out AbbybellPetDesigns.com. We offer quality products such as floppy beds, crate pads, round pet beds, pillow slip covers, belly bands, and more. All products come in a variety of colors and sizes, guaranteed to satisfy your pet's particular style. Your pet deserves to be pampered, so shop at AbbybellPetDesigns.com. If you don't see the item you want listed in our shop, just drop us a line and we'll be glad to make the product of your pet's dreams. AbbybellPetDesigns.com. And good morning, everyone. Let's bring in Periscope and Facebook Live. Hey, Gary. Hey, Robin. Good morning. How are you? Happy Thursday. How is everybody doing? I know that Senate hearings are going on right now. Pretty much predictable what's going to be said. It's Rod Rosenstein and Director Ray. Hey, Rhonda. Good morning. Renee, hello, how are you? How is everybody? Good to see you. We'll wait a few more minutes for people to get in. Good morning, Randy. How are you? Probably everybody is watching the Senate hearing. I did that one day for 5 hours, it seemed like, with Ray, and it was pretty much a waste of time with the IG. So I'm learning a little bit not to do that. Hey, Bushcraft, good to see you. All right, as everybody is coming in, I'm just going to quickly read to you what I feel that's really important right now. Kind of tells you pretty much what's going on. This is Timothy 3, 2 Timothy 3 to be exact. But know this, that in the last days perilous times will come, for men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, unloving, unforgiving, slanderers, without self-control, brutal, despisers of good, traitors, headstrong, haughty, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying its power, and from such people turn away. For all of this sort of are those who creep into households and make captives of gullible women, loaded down with sin, led away by various lusts, always learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. Now, as Jannes and Jambres resisted Moses, so do these also resist the truth. Men of corrupt minds, disapproved concerning the faith, but they will progress no further, for their folly will be manifest to all, as theirs also was. Boy, does that just hold true for today. Hey, Randy, good to see you. Hey, Don, good to see you. H. Steigel, Cully, good to see you. House Star 57, hello, everybody. Wow, we have a lot to talk about. As you know, right now, the Senate hearings are going on with the Director Ray of the FBI, with also Rod Rosenstein, the Deputy AG, who are testifying today about the IG report. Let me break it down for you, what you're going to hear. Number one, I can't talk about classified information. Number two, I can't discuss an ongoing investigation. Number three, we agree with the IG report. Number four, we have made changes based upon, hey Jack, based upon the IG report. Marlene, good morning, how are you? Zippity doo dah, hello. Carmen, hello, how are you? So that's what you're going to hear. That's what's going to, I'll save you a little bit of time and having to listen to it, because that's exactly what you're going to hear. They're not going to really tell you anything. It's not going to be like an oh gosh moment. The Democrats are already against it, and as you may, it's predictable what's going on. They didn't want the hearing to take place. They didn't want it to take place within, there's supposed to be a 7-day notification. They didn't want to waive the notification. Hey, Shannon, how are you? Yeah, it's a horse and pony show, or a dog and pony show, whichever a star. It certainly is. Hey, Alan, good morning. That's all it is. That's all it'll ever be. Darlene, good morning. So, save yourself some time, maybe watching it. Watch the couple of things from the replay. You're not going to hear anything. Yesterday, I understand that when Peter Strzok spoke before the House, and I guess he spoke there for a long time, Hi, Susan. Change in work schedule and vacation has kept me away. Missed all of you. I know, Shannon. We missed you too. Luluct Allen, good to see you back on Periscope. Angels, hello. So Peter Strzok supposedly spoke a long time yesterday. The people who listened to him speak said they don't believe that he's telling the truth. Marlene, glad to see you on Periscope. They also said that he wasn't under oath. So my thoughts are, you know, what was that whole thing about? It was no good, actually, because it meant nothing. If you're not speaking under oath, you're wasting my time. Now, I know that he's supposed to come back for public hearings. I've got company been hectic. Okay. Alan, I've seen you kind of absent a little bit. I thought probably you were on vacation or had company because I saw a couple of your posts. Hey, Lisa, good to see you. So, so that whole thing with Peter Strzok, talk about another dog and pony show. I mean, I guess Congress wanted to do that a little bit for themselves to see what he was going to say. The public hearings when he's under oath, that will be more impressive to me. And then I will believe that what he's saying, or, you know, at least halfway believe what he's saying, because I don't now. We, of course, don't know what was said yesterday, but they certainly said that, hey, Monique, they said that what they heard yesterday, there was new information that came out yesterday. And they did not say what that new information was, so we're left to guess. Maybe they'll bring that back up in a public hearing. Now, my guess is that when we come around time for the public hearing, or when he's under oath, we may have a different story. He may have changed his tune. He may decide he doesn't want to testify. I can't see you not loading for some reason. Monique, come to Periscope or YouTube. I'd love to smack the smirk off of Rosenstein's face, Marlene said. When is the public hearing, Lori said. Lori, they haven't said that yet. Yeah, Rosenstein looks like a Cheshire cat this morning, like he knows something that you don't know. I know that he was asked, you know, why didn't you recuse yourself from the Mueller investigation? You wrote a letter saying Comey ought to be fired. You did this, you did that. And he's like, oh, well, no, I don't think I should have been recused. And believe me, hey, Lynn, good morning. Believe me, if I could have been, I would have given it to somebody else to do. I know, he always looks smug. He does, Renee. And so, you know, we're not going to get a recusal out of Rosenstein. We're not going to get a recusal out of Mueller. We're not going to get a Mueller investigation that's concluded. All we're going to do is sit here and talk about what should have been done, who should have done what. Hey, Cisco. And nothing's going to happen. We're going to continue on down this road. We're going to go on through November, the elections, 2018. We're going to probably bring it right up to 2020. We're going to be doing the same exact thing. Rose laughing makes me crazy. Rosenstein, yeah, I know. Marcia American. Marty American. Sorry, Marty. Good morning. How are you? Hey, Patrick. Good to see you. Yeah, Rosenstein, he has that kind of laugh. Like you can tell he's uncomfortable with laughing because he never laughs. Hey, Jules. And then, you know, then when he has to laugh, it's always, I'm laughing because, number one, it's the appropriate thing to do at this time, I'm guessing. And, you know, things of that nature. He's kind of like Comey in a way, sort of like a robot, and does things that he thinks are socially appropriate at the time. It's just a pissing match, Marlene said. Yeah, it basically is. It's a waste of time to watch that. I mean, sometimes, you know, you think, I'm going to watch it, I'll get something out of it, or something will happen. And it never really does. TV horror. Lynn said. Oh. Well, okay, yeah. I mean, it's not good. And then Ray, FBI Director Ray, just sits there like, well, here I am. I'm just going to give you the same information again. I'm going to tell you that we've got the IG report and we've made changes and we're going to continue making changes and everything in the FBI is okay because in the 10 months I've been there, the people are great and we're doing great things. You know, I mean, it's just like, okay, okie dokie then. Then why did all this happen? Hey, Robbie, obviously there was a failure in some place, whether it was at the top under Comey. I don't know. I find Ray's speaking voice irritating, Lori said. I find his facial expressions irritating because they're the same. That kind of, what am I doing here? Why am I here? I'm having an out-of-body experience. That's what he does. And Rosenstein just kind of goes over and talks to all the Democrats that are sitting there in the Senate, waiting for the Republicans to get back after their vote. And I mean, it's like, okay, this is so typical. I don't know. Hey, Rakes, I don't know why he talks to somebody on the Senate panel during, well, in the break. It shows. I mean, I don't know. Isn't the FBI supposed to be separate? Didn't we all say that we're supposed to be separate? Yes, I know they're supposed to get along with Congress, but especially there when you're at a hearing, you go up and you kind of become personal. Good morning, Lee. So I guess so they won't ask you the tough questions. Not that they were going to ask you the tough questions anyway. They're Democrats. I mean, I don't know. It's a dog and pony show. It's ridiculous to watch. Let me give you some breaking news so I'm thinking about it. President Trump is going to be meeting with Putin in Helsinki on July 16. That ought to spin the heads of the Democrats really well. They'll say, well, he's just finishing up his meeting about the Russian collusion. So that'll be what that is. I think at the time, I know the First Lady is going to be flying with him the next time that he goes out of the country. He's going to be going someplace before Helsinki. I can't remember at the moment where, but she's going to be going with him there. Honestly, the Republicans have no backbone. Renee, I know. They're reactive, not proactive, and then they just spin. When they try to become, look like they're doing something, they just kind of chase their tails. So, we never get anywhere. I don't know. Again, why don't we have a second special counsel? Why aren't we doing other investigations? Why are we just waiting? It's the only thing that they're doing. Maybe they're waiting for a miracle to happen. I don't know. In other news and breaking news, a former Equifax manager has been charged with insider trading. He's in the UK on 7/13. There you go, Lee. That's right. They are trying to defeat their own party with amnesty. Absolutely, Renee, and the House said no. I want Susan Knowles on the Supreme Court. Thank you, Shannon. I would love that, actually, to take the place of Justice Kennedy, who was, as you know, the professor from my law school, who, when I was in law school, he got nominated, the number 3rd person chosen, and nominated by Ronald Reagan, number 3rd person chosen. And at the time, he was at best a moderate. We hoped that he would be a conservative moderate. They're looking at him and looking at his career as a conservative moderate. I think he was more a left-leaning moderate who in the most recent years proved that he was very left-leaning. Time for him to go. They keep threatening to impeach Rosenstein but keep pushing it down the road. Of course. And Renee, Rosenstein just sits there with his little Cheshire smile, knowing nobody's going to do a darn thing, because that's what they do. Nothing. I want to see action. Yeah, well, Renee, I do too. I've been waiting for that. Glad to see him go, Robin said. Absolutely. Glad that he's giving us another opportunity to put a conservative judge in, a justice. Yeah, Carmen said we all do want to see him go. Left wants to remove Trump over fear of abortion ban, not realizing that Pence would be a bigger threat. They want to take Trump out over any reason. Like, oh, he sneezed. Okay, let's impeach him. Susan, you law degree, and you're a doctor of psychology. Darlene, I have a law degree. I used to practice law. I don't practice anymore. And I have a master's in counseling psychology. I'm a psychotherapist. And I have a JD. I can't, in the state of California, you can't call yourself a lawyer if you're not actively practicing. So, I'm a former practicing attorney. Hey, Jules, good to see you. What I think, I'd like to see about a dozen orange jumpsuits all in a row, Carmen said, in lifetime terms for Supreme Court judges. That might be a good idea, Brandon. You are awesome, Lynn said. Thank you, Lynn. You are awesome, too. I would really love to see Mike Lee put in as the nominee for Supreme Court justice. I think he would be excellent. He's young. He would be in for a long time. He is very much a constitutional conservative. I think he would be excellent. Now, from what I heard, if it's true, reported in the mainstream media, and I think President Trump may have confirmed this, that he's going to be picking people off the existing lists that he has already. Lee is on Trump's short list, as is his brother. Yes, Marlene, he was on the list. Robin said she agrees 100%. Mike Lee is my choice. Constitutional conservative is a must. Exactly, Shannon. But did you see where Lee asked Trump to step down that thing I sent you? Lori, I know in the beginning, Lee and Cruz are very close. And so I think that's probably, he doesn't like the way that Trump does things. I think he's probably come around like a lot of people who thought they were never Trumpers or didn't want President Trump. When you're seeing all the good things that he's doing, when you're seeing all the corruption that he's uncovering, it's hard to continue down that path. So I think that's probably what it was. I think that Mike Lee would be a very fair individual. He's more of a traditional conservative, yes. Why do some think you can't be a conservative if you were ever against Trump? I don't know, just the way it goes, I guess, Renee. It speaks well that he is close to Cruz. I believe that too, Cindy. I would vote for the nominee to be Ted Cruz, because again, even though he didn't work out as president, he would make an excellent constitutional conservative justice. He doesn't want the position, I'm sure, because he wants to try again to be president someday, which I don't see happening, but who knows? Miracles do happen. We've seen that. But I think he would be excellent. But second best, yeah, he is brilliant, Cindy. I mean, he has that mind. He's a brilliant guy with that, photographic memory, that type of thing. He would be excellent. And again, Robin said, again, agree. He would be, as a Supreme Court justice, I think, extremely fair. Lee does not like Trump's past morals, and I respect that, but Supreme Court is bigger than the president. Absolutely, Shannon, absolutely. It's very important. And I think, again, that Lee, when making the decisions, he would not be looking at President Trump. He would be looking at what's right before him, what he needs to do. I think he's a God-fearing man as well, and I think that it would be a good combination. So we'll see if he picks somebody off that. I quite like Cruz, Lee said. Yeah, I like Cruz. He was my person for president before President Trump, and when Cruz dropped out, I was all on board with President Trump after I prayed about it for 3 days, and I went and I also voted for President Trump. So Dershowitz said Cruz was the smartest kid he ever taught. Absolutely. And Cindy, coming from Dershowitz, that's an amazing compliment. I liked Gowdy before he fell off the wagon. Me too, Brandon. But now that he's off the wagon, done with him. And he doesn't want it anyway. He wants to go back to private practice. He wants to, I guess, make millions, which is fine, but he's not who I thought he was. Supreme Court would be a position where personal opinion of Trump shouldn't come into play, Julia said. Yes, exactly. And Cindy says, me too, Brandon. Julia, I really do think that it's not, those two men, Cruz or Lee, I really don't think the opinion that they have, hey, Teresa, towards President Trump now or in the future would interfere with what they're doing. Rand Paul endorsed Lee. I love Rand and his father. Brandon said, whenever Trump leaves office, we are doomed. No current Republican will stand up like Trump does. Renee, I believe that's true. Vice President Pence, if he got elected, we would have a good continuation, but you're not going to find a person like President Trump. I think he is almost like a once-in-a-lifetime president, but as I've said before, and after everything that's coming out now with the Democrats, what they're saying, what they're trying to do, I am more convinced than ever, whether you like it or not, you need to vote Republican, because if you don't, the Republic goes down with any Democrat that you put in their place. The next president will appear the most dull and boring person of all time, Shannon said. God can find us another candidate. Yes, he can. Absolutely. But I'll tell you, Cindy said you were right. If you go look at my article today about Chuck Schumer trying to twist the Biden rule in order to prevent the president from picking a Supreme Court justice, it shows you more and more the type of people that we are dealing with. The liberal left has gone off the rails, and I mean way off the rails. Just go to SusanKnowles.com. You'll find that article. Some of the things in there, Schumer's trying to say, invoking the Biden rule. First of all, you'll see in there's a video that I've placed there where Joe Biden said there's no such thing as the Biden rule. That's ridiculous. Out of the mouth of Joe Biden himself saying that. Now, what was the Biden rule? In 1992, Joe Biden came forward and did a speech on the floor, the Senate floor, basically saying, in the event there is a need to put in a new Supreme Court justice, which at the time there was no vacancy, but for H.W. Bush, if there's a need to put in a Supreme Court justice, then you won't do it until after the election. Now, there was no need to put one in, so we're not talking about the same situation even. Schumer now is saying, oh, we want to invoke the Biden rule because what we want to do is we're bringing in new senators, and it's an election. We're bringing in new senators, and we should wait until after and invoke that Biden rule. First of all, Schumer, you know, because I'm sure you're an attorney as well, that basically it is not a presidential election year. It is a midterm year. You're talking about senators versus a new president, not the same. And they're saying, well, but look what Mitch McConnell did under Obama. Yeah, but under Obama, and the reason they didn't go after Merrick Garland and allow an up or down vote on him, that he was somebody that Obama had wanted to put on the Supreme Court. There was a new president coming in. It was a new election. There goes Facebook. It was a new election. So therefore, again, a new president, brand new election. There was a vacancy. Similar situation to now, except it's not an election time for a new president. So he's trying to take a Biden rule that Joe Biden said doesn't exist anyway, trying to use it in a situation where you're talking about midterms and bringing in new senators and there's a vacancy, rather than bringing in a new president where there's a vacancy or bringing in a new president where there's not a new vacancy. Now, here's the thing that I thought was funny. When I was doing my research, I looked up under Fox and New York Times in the 1992 rule of Joe Biden. Do you know that this is frightening to me, that in those two articles that I looked at as sources, both of them said this was President George Bush in 1992 that this was said to. George Bush was not president in 1992. This was George H.W. Bush. So these two articles made it sound like it was George Bush, and they didn't even say George Bush Sr. They just said President George Bush. You were off by a couple of years, guys, because he didn't become president until after 2000. I mean, come on. The left is already protesting against Justice Kennedy's retirement. They say that Trump's Supreme Court justice pick will be racist and sexist. He hasn't even picked anyone yet. I know, Nikolai. Liberals are showing their true insanity, Robin said. Absolutely. Hey, Huey. So, I mean, when you've got the media screwing up the president, come on. The last I read was Dems asking to replace Ruth since Republicans get Kennedy. They are desperate. And Renee, here's what I say. We have the control of the House and the Senate right now. We need to move as quickly as possible, because if we wait, in which we're not going to, but if we wait and do nothing, all of those court cases coming up would all go there'd be 4 against 4. What do you do when there's a tie in the Supreme Court? I don't know. I'm not sure. It would just stay there and nothing would get done. Delayed nomination is not good for our country. Lori, it isn't in any way at all. We also can use, hey Danielle, the simple majority to elect to nominate and appoint the Supreme Court justice, and that's what we're going to have to do. Brandon said November is very important. Absolutely. Junior, good morning. How are you? So, basically we have to move as quickly as possible. I say let's nominate somebody this week and start the hearings next week. Now, all you're going to hear is the Democrats. They are going to come out, and as Nikolai said, they're already doing it. Let me close this down. But they're going to come out in force. In force. If you think that you've seen hatred, you haven't seen nothing yet that will come from the Democrat Party. And I'm not talking about, again, everyday Democrats. I'm talking about the bleeding heart liberal globalist elitists like Schumer's, Pelosi, and Waters, and all their ilk. You're going to see hatred like you've never seen it before. You're going to see lawlessness like you've never seen before. They're going to do anything and everything. They're running out of options. Cruz is endorsing Lee, which is anti-Trump Mormon. Danielle, Lee is the best choice. Violence is coming, Renee said. Absolutely. Absolutely. The other thing that is happening, Maxine Waters is still not backing down at all from what she said. Democratic Party is the new face of domestic terrorism. Shannon said, yep. I love watching them squirm like the reptiles they are, Marlene said. Absolutely. See the anti-Trump thing unreal? Yep. It is going to be just overflowing. She will not back down. She knows what she did is wrong. She went on yesterday and was talking about civility again and saying, look, I don't have to back down. Let me just tell you what civility is and isn't. And she started quoting what Donald Trump said, some of the comments that he made during his presidential campaign before he was president. She quoted those and said, he continues to advocate violence. Listen to what he said, and then quoted the past when he wasn't even president. So, again, Maxine got some protesters at her home. Well, I guess what goes around comes around, Renee. But, civility, she's trying to put it back on Trump, blaming Trump, now saying, well, I didn't do anything wrong. Maxine will double down. This will help destroy the Democrats. Absolutely. Good morning from Wayne in Laughlin, Nevada. How is it in Laughlin? Yeah, no peace, no sleep. That's right. They want to put it on our side. It'll come right back to them. Now, I know that they were saying, stuff about, remember Jim Acosta when he was at South Carolina? Hey, Barbara. When he was in South Carolina, people told him to go home, and they're saying, oh, that's not civility. See, I disagree with that. They will destroy themselves. Dee said, yes. It's hot and Wayne. Oh, I bet so. Jim Acosta was doing his job. If you don't like somebody where you're at in their place of business, who are doing their job, our side has all the guns, Bob said, you can ask that person to leave. If you don't want them there, if Sarah Sanders went and spoke someplace at a convention or whatever, you have a right to say, we don't want you here, Sarah. But you don't have a right not to let them speak. I don't think anybody was interrupting Acosta and not letting him do his job, but they were just saying, we don't want you here. May result in an East and West America with we'll have to come on over. Y'all have to come on over. Yeah, exactly. But, where's the divide? Because East and West, there's so many people in the East and the West who are Democrats and the liberal Democrats. So I don't know, Teresa, where will we divide the country? But anyway, I don't think, like if Acosta were at dinner, now that's different. Leave him alone. He's not working. You don't, in my opinion, you don't have a right to voice your opinion. It's inappropriate. Of course, you have your free speech right to do so. Doesn't mean that you should. You shouldn't be rude. You shouldn't be unprofessional and all that type of stuff. I think what that woman did at the rally, that's up to them. If they don't want him there, maybe he shouldn't be there. So they were not cussing, only saying CNN lies, go home, and it was not dangerous. Exactly, Barbara. And as I said, it was his place of business, basically. It was not at his home, was not at a restaurant or anything where it's personal. So it's a different situation, but the left always tries to make the situation the same, even if you don't have similar facts. They try to make it the same. Let's see. Also, I wanted to talk a little bit about the woman that got elected. I never can remember her name. I know it's Cortez, something Cortez. Oh, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Can you imagine if a restaurant owner did that to an LGBT person? Well, see, but Teresa, the thing of it is, LGBT is a protected class. What are your thoughts on amnesty? My thoughts on amnesty is there should not be amnesty. Heard the Red Hen is not doing great. And you know what? That's the way it should be. The woman, I know of the Red Hen. The owner resigned from the tourism industry that she was on. She was on the panel to, I think she was a director, and it was something like a Chamber of Commerce to build tourism. I don't think that's the representative you want. Anyway, the Alexandria, I'll just call her Cortez, they ticked off half their customers. Yep, especially with the dirty outside. I know, somebody was cleaning it up for them. Cortez, you know, it's amazing. This woman was 28 years old, a total socialist. I mean, she makes Bernie Sanders look almost to the right a little bit. Looked it up, in Maxine's district has a poverty level of 21%. Yeah, Brandon, not surprising. She basically, 28 years old, never held office anywhere ever. I listened to her speak yesterday in an interview. She sounds like she doesn't know what the heck she's talking about at all. She sounded unsure. She sounded like bartender. Is that what she was, Renee? She sounded like a spoiled brat millennial. How did that happen? She's dangerous. D, it happened because the Democrat Party, and maybe you don't know this because you're not a Democrat and you haven't been watching these people, she sounded communist. Well, Lori, that's because it's socialist communism. That's exactly what she's saying. The Democrat Party has become the Socialist Party. I feel bad for the people who are not like that in the Democrat Party. Yeah, their number 4, Dem, was defeated. Tried to share and froze. If you guys could, we're at the halfway point. If you could share and retweet this, I would appreciate it. The thing of it is that that Joseph Crowley, he really thought he was going to win. All rainbows and unicorns on the left. That's right, Brandon. Walk away. There you go. Hashtag walk away. He thought he was going to win, and he was even looking at getting the speaker position, the minority speaker position that Nancy Pelosi holds. Fantasyland, yep. Nikolai said the Red Hen owner had to resign the board because after she kicked Sarah and her family out, she organized a group of people to go across the street to harass Sarah again at another restaurant. Yep, Nikolai, she was crazy. They all thought he would win. They did, and he didn't, you know, Renee, I heard that he wasn't really going out and doing any hearings or town halls or, you know, what meetings or whatever, because he thought he had it in the bag. I mean, he'd been in there for 10 years. He thought this, you know, little 28-year-old wasn't going to cause him any problems. The left have gone so far left, the world was flat, they would fall off, Cully said. You know, the thing of it is, I don't know if you heard this the other day, but Ellison, who's on the DNC, number 2 person, when that came out, the Supreme Court ruling with Gorsuch the other day, he did pull a Hillary, yes. He said, oh, you know, Gorsuch must have been bribed. And so, well, you want to marry me? Well, you can't because, you see, I'm already married. Does she face an election in November against a Republican? I don't know, Barbara. Frozen also casino limiting my Wi-Fi because they want you to be over there and spend money, Wayne. That's what they want. Yeah, she does go against a Republican, Barbara. She won in the primaries for her party, the Democrat Party. So, you know, she's got to be defeated. If she's not defeated, then what you're basically looking at is, and I don't know that she's going to be defeated. We're talking about New York. She ran in a highly Latina community and is young, also speaking the socialist agenda. Yes, Renee. And, you know, I'll tell you what, I didn't think Omar Navarro had a chance, and I still really don't think that he has a chance against Maxine because her supporters are just so into Maxine that they'll drink whatever she's serving. But, you know, maybe because of what happened in New York, maybe there's a slight chance, but I still doubt it for Omar Navarro. It should be, and there are Latinos in that district, but I don't know if there's enough. Nancy was saying she was already coming in. Of course, she is nuts. This scope can be so serious, caring, and then so funny. And you know, Teresa, that's the way it should be, right? It should be. We have to do a little bit of everything. You know, Barbara, I'm going to check on that about Cortez. I thought this was just a primary. Maybe Nancy's right. I should go and check and double check that. But I thought this was just basically her winning her primary. he might if some Republicans, the MC, or even Trump would endorse him. What did you guys think about President Trump sort of yeah, that's what I thought was a primary, endorsing Mitt Romney in Utah? I mean, of course he has to, because he's a Republican, and he has to. But I see Mitt Romney is kind of a person who basically is going to come in. I think she has to run against the Republican. That's what I thought, But like I said, Renee, I thought the same thing, and I think that's what it was, just a primary. But I could be wrong. I'm not in New York, but that was my understanding. I think I could see Mitt Romney kind of being an obstructionist if he gets in, kind of like John McCain. Don't like Romney. Daniel said, I can't stand Mitt. I can't either, and it has nothing to do with him being a Mormon. It has the fact to do with that he's too liberal. He's a liberal, in my opinion, a liberal Republican. He's a rhino, and I think he's going to be like John McCain. I really do. Probably not as bad. Well, there you go, Renee. Utah is going to have to either have Mitt Romney or a Democrat. If I were in, Robin says don't like Romney. If I were in Utah and my choice was Mitt Romney and a Democrat, I would be voting for Mitt Romney. Again, I don't want to see the Republic fall. And even though I don't like some of the Republicans, they and the president are what stands between us and losing the Republic. Think it is a party thing, and he was talking all pro-Trump the other day. Yeah, Barbara, me too. Me too. And there is no choice. You have to vote for a Republican, in my opinion. And Susan tells it like it is. You don't have to guess. Yeah, Romney. He only got elected because of his name and religion. It's true, Bob. Utah will do that. You're right. We have to stand together, Cindy said. That's the way I feel. Did you watch the North Dakota rally last night? I did, Brandon. Thought it was great. I heard there were so many people waiting outside trying to get in. Crowded inside. We need term limits. Lori said, yes, we do. 25 years ago, Trump would have been considered a moderate Republican. Exactly, Rhonda. He would have been. You're so right. He really would have been. It's amazing how times have changed. Well, at least Utah can be red. Exactly, Barbara. Exactly. Any protesters at last night's rally? I didn't see any, Lori. I didn't see any in the crowd that got taken out. So, and the one the other night, the one with the man bun that got taken out. But I think this Cortez woman is kind of a sign of the times. I also think that there's a big possibility, and I'm going out on a limb here, but I think Barbara said it was packed at the rally. Yes, his rallies have lots of energy. Brandon said absolutely. I think there's a possibility that Bernie Sanders may run again. I really do. I think that he would have easily defeated Hillary Clinton had they not gotten him out of the campaign. I really do. And I think that he's going to, with socialism on fire in the Democrat Party, I think that they may just bring him back in 2020. How old is he? I don't know, 100? He's pretty old. He would have, yep. I so hope not, Lee said. I hope not too, Lee. But I have this feeling. Well, millennials like free stuff. Yep. And it's funny, Barbara, that you said that millennials like free stuff, which they do. Well, Renee, he may be too old, but then you have Maxine Waters, you have Dianne Feinstein. I know Feinstein's in her 80s, and Maxine's not close behind. I think she's like 79. So I think there ought to be an age limit. Honestly, I do. Maybe capping it off at 80 and leaving it at that. Yet he will divide the dim vote. Hope so. They're all too old. Renee said, yeah, pretty much. Bernie Sanders will have an accident if he runs again. I don't know, Nikolai. Maybe, unless the Democrat Party has gone so far to the left and so far socialist that they would be okay with it. Yeah, there should totally be a limit, an age limit. I'm sorry, I just think you get to a certain point, and then while you may have your mental faculties and all that, who in their right minds wants to be working in that high stress level job like when you're 80 years old? Bernie will be 77 on September 8th. Thanks, Google. Lori said. Bernie will live forever with his great health care. Exactly. She needs to get her slippers on. My mom is 80. 78 Maxine. My mom is 79 and she thinks they're all too old. She said RGB on SCOTUS should be forced to resign. Yeah, Ginsburg, she really should be. I think the Lord is getting something ready to go. So whatever it is, just get ready. Yep. Bernie is the Democrats' nominee. Well, he is an independent star, but we'll see what happens. Mitt equal Flake, Rhonda said. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. My dad will be 89 on the 12th. Wow. Wait, who was that who said that? It went so fast. My gosh. That was Lori. Wow. Tell your dad happy birthday from the Knowles crew. Well, then he will be Grandpa Bernie. Child need a role model. Hello, how are you? Susan, thoughts on Q? Huey, I don't think Q is real. Hey, Susan, heated House Committee hearing, yeah. Hearing, yes. Kamala Harris will run for the Democrats. I think so. Maybe Cory Booker. Definitely Kamala Harris will run. Maybe, what's her face? Pocahontas. Can't think of her name anymore. I've heard Pocahontas so much. Yeah, Pocahontas and Booker. Yep. I think that, Huey, to answer your question about Q, I think in the beginning, Q may have been real, but it was kind of shown that, how did we get to this place where socialists could be spoken out loud and even be considered? I know, Cindy. Remember, I read 2 Timothy 3. Go back and read that after we're done, and you'll find out how we got to the place we are. I think the DNC passed a rule that you have to be a Democrat to run as a Dem. They're icing Bernie, yeah. Bernie could switch back over. My mom is 81, and I can say 80 should be cut off, and my mom is in better shape than me, Carmen said. I think Q in the beginning may have been real people. I think they were infiltrated by other people who wanted to make money, and they, as Barbara said, they were compromised. And I wouldn't put my trust in Q. I wouldn't put my trust in anybody except God. What scripture did you just state? That is 2 Timothy chapter 3. 2 Timothy 3. Interesting. Let Bernie be the third party candidate. Yeah, exactly. Cindy, he would be. 2 Timothy 3. That's right. Yeah, you have to read that, Renee, because you'll see, and whoever asked that too, you'll see how we got to where we are and how it's going to get worse. We need more parties. I think we need more qualified people. If Ginsburg retires or dies, the left will come completely unglued and demand that they get to pick the replacement. Nikolai, absolutely. 3's a crowd. He will still vote, Brandon said. Yeah, they'd have to get rid of Bernie in some way so he can't steal the votes. He'll either have to become a Democrat or maybe have a, I don't know, unfortunate accident. We know what happens with a third-party candidate. That's right, Cindy. This uniparty is ridiculous. Renee said, yep. Boom and more qualified people. Maybe Jill will come out again. Yeah. Honestly, not to make friends mad, but what does Q know we cannot figure out? Exactly, Barbara. Exactly. I at one time, when I was skeptical of Q in the beginning myself, this was long before, this is when they were getting started, I went and looked at what Q said was going to happen, but the problem was they said that it was going to happen after it had already happened. And at the time, I was thinking, why is everybody following these people when it's so obvious that, it's so inaccurate? Hey, Original. Let's see. What is Q? It's QAnon. It's supposedly a bunch of, it used to be like military people supposedly that have that know what's going to happen before it happens, that have a sort of a link to the president. Somehow they and the president are kind of working together to save the world. I don't believe it, unfortunately. And I know people get really mad when you say that you don't believe Q, but kind of like WikiLeaks. Yeah. Oh. He uses rhymes, and maybe so if he's wrong, he's covered. Exactly, Barbara. Q has always been a game someone is playing to distract people, but people don't want to hear it. I know, Julia. They get really, really mad if you say that you don't believe QAnon. I know that, oh gosh. I can't think of his name right now. My gosh. Lori, not true. Praying medic listens to Q. Yeah, well, Danielle, I hate to tell you this about Praying Medic, but it was proven that Praying Medic was part of the group of those people that had something to do with Q and may have been benefiting from keeping that going. So I saw something about a posting, a pic post of a JetBlue plane a while back, and then JetBlue this week. I didn't see anything about JetBlue, Renee. Sounds like my dad. I can't keep up with him. um, Jerome Corsi used to follow Q and give Q updates every single day. And then Corsi came to understand, well, Q kind of called him out, supposedly, on making money off of the Q posts. And it's so funny because those people, I can't remember their names now, who started that whole thing, they were benefiting it as well, and so was Praying Medic and other people. And I have nothing against people making money for doing that. That's perfectly fine. Yeah, then they attacked Corsi, exactly. And Corsi's like, I'm out of here. This is fake. Yeah. No, I don't think it's Barron Trump. I don't think so. I think it could be somebody on the left, if anybody. Then everybody got mad at Corsi. Yep, Dixie Doodles doesn't believe it either. Robin said never had followed Q. Exactly. And it comes back to what I say to you. Q is not the answer to everything. Lynn said, I can't read that code. Well, Renee, that's the whole point, right? If you can't read it, then you're never going to really know whether it's accurate or not. If you got some information, come out and say it, you know, and risk maybe being wrong. Okay, I can appreciate that. But if you want to talk in riddles, you know, this isn't Sherlock Holmes or Batman or, you know, whatever. 0 Hour Brian also exposed some of the Q contributors as even anti-info. Yes, Jerry, and he exposed the Praying Medic as well. I was able to read WikiLeaks. I know, Renee. I mean, yeah, Renee, sorry. You know, again, I never believed it. Coded messages is game level. Exactly, original. Some worked for Hillary. Yeah. The thing of it is, you know, as we always talk, just like Anonymous, you shouldn't follow a man or a woman 100% and put your faith in them. Put your faith in God. Don't put your faith 100% in any man or woman. Go do your own research. Find out for yourself. When I started researching, when I started listening to some other things that were going on and started sitting back and watching, I decided that Q wasn't real, at least in my opinion, and not for me. So, you know, this is the first time I've really said anything about Q and about other people. I don't really know what, you know, some of the people that kind of set up that organization and Praying Medic, what their benefit is, and I really don't care. Right? Faith in God. Everyone else needs verification. Thank you, original. Trust God. Trust President Trump to hear from God. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I'd love it when exactly, Susan, I have really learned a lot about not believing anyone. Exactly, Teresa. You know, you have to know that when somebody comes out and they won't tell you things. That's why, you know, when some of these people who were on Periscope were coming out and they say, oh, well, I've got contacts that say X, Y, and Z, but I can't tell you all the information. I can't tell you who they are. Again, as I've told you, I've had people that have called me with information, some credible, some not credible. I choose not to give you that information because I can't verify if it's credible or not. And if I'm not willing to tell you, you can't believe anything you see or hear. I know, Marlene. And if I can't tell you something that I believe in, I'm not going to tell you. I've got oceanfront property in Colorado. Yep. Yes, show some facts, not speculation. Exactly, Jerry. And, you know, a lot of people say that like, oh, I just say Susan told me, Wayne said. Say that at the Laughlin tables, too, there, Wayne. That people just, they want to make them seem more important than they really are, or they want to make you think that they're somehow connected to the president when they're really not. You know, I mean, if you're connected to the president and you're saying things that are classified information or secret information or sensitive information, then let me just tell you something. You shouldn't be connected to the president because that information should not be leaked in the first place. It really shouldn't. That's just my opinion. Let's see. People will also believe what they want to believe. Absolutely. Somebody else said, whoops, Susan Knowles. Susan knows. 100% Carmen said, say it or shut it. Yep, Q. Exactly. Yeah. It totally, exactly. Again, when you're working with stuff like that and sensitive information, people don't give you that information. They just don't talk about it. That's how the FBI and the DOJ, that's how all those people used to be. And now it's like, oh, let's see how much information we can leak. Well, the leaked information that we've seen so far it's mostly all turned out to be untrue. Every single drop of it. So I don't want to play that game. Now, the HHS watchdog is going to be examining the conditions at a shelter for illegal immigrant children down in Texas, I believe. Again, this is another part of the dog and pony show where we have them talking about illegal immigrant children, those poor children, they need to be released. It's a way to distract. It's a way to try to get the administration off of their game and to try to, let's face it, to try to win elections by making it look like that the Republicans are just horrible people. But they're all in cages, I know. Now, here's what happened. I don't know if you know about this, but a district judge in San Diego, of course, they had to come down to a border town, basically has ordered the president, the Trump administration, to reunite the illegal immigrant children with their families, depending on the age, younger age within 14 days and a little older age within 30 days, trying to create an issue to get eyes on the Dems. Exactly, original, exactly. So, unfortunately, I think what happened was, this is a temporary injunction. I think what happened is when the president signed that executive order, he kind of unintentionally opened himself up to something like this happening. Because before we had the 2008 law, where's this, Russia probe, finish it the hell up. Ah, that's funny. Yeah, and as if that's going to matter, Carmen. Children fed, safe, clothed, learning better than where they came from. Barbara, 125,000%. So I think when the president signed that executive order, it kind of bypassed the existing 2008 Act and the Flores settlement. And I think he opened himself up to a court coming in. You said this was going to happen. I know, Barbara. The court came in and they said, we're going to enter a temporary restraining order, basically, against you, and you've got to put these people back together. I believe he should never have signed that executive order. He should have waited for Congress to act. If they didn't act, oh well. Now, what I would do, I would say, okay, we will reunite those people. I mean, first of all, I would appeal, and then I would try to get to the Supreme Court as quickly as possible. But I would immediately reunite those people. I would send those kids right back to the country, those 10,000 children. And notice the judge didn't even mention the 10,000 children. Well, they are trying to put back right. Right? He didn't even mention the 10,000 children. That wasn't even on his list. If you care about reuniting children with their parents, why didn't you talk about the 10,000 that came here by themselves that should be reunited? Wasn't Ivanka behind him doing that? Ivanka and Melania, I think, Renee, both wanted it, according to the media. According to the media. So, reunite them, take them back to whatever country, do it within 14 to 30 days. Yeah, Cindy, some are from Mexico, some, but they're Guatemala, Honduras, and everything else. Take them back over there, reunite them. The ones that right now are not reunited with their parents, the 2,000 or so, put them back together, get them out of here too. I support border security, but I hate this child separation policy. It's unnecessary. Hidden Gem, it's not unnecessary. It's a policy that's been in place since like 1997, and then again in 2008, with 2008 Act that Congress created and signed by President Bush. The whole point about separating the children from their quote-unquote parents is that a lot of these people aren't their parents. They're pedophiles. They're sex traffickers. If you keep the children with those people, you will never be able to know whether or not they're really their parents or they're trying to do harm to the children. That's the whole idea behind separating the children from the parents. And also, don't come to this country illegally, and you will not be separated from your children ever. They don't know to whom they belong. That's right, Cindy. And I know that, hey, Jobo, I know that Sessions had talked about doing DNA. Cindy, I'm telling you, you mentioned DNA, And what's going to happen is that, Big Daddy, are you telling me to shut up? I hope not. So out you go. I think that what's going to happen is the ACLU would be all over that. They're not going to want that because you know why? Because it would be so easy. They'll say, "Oh, you're disenfranchising these poor people. You're trying to take that information and use it against them. You're going to put that information on file and it will be used against them when they come back illegally once again." You know, this is such a crazy, mixed up, BS going on down there. And yesterday the House voted down the compromise bill. Do you think it would help? You went there, then everyone would see what's really going on. If Teresa, you mean the president went down there? I don't think the president should go there. Melania went there. It doesn't matter. He had to go back home. Yeah, exactly. You can't win with libs. That's right, Cindy. No matter what you did, if the president himself went there, it wouldn't make one bit of a difference. This is what they're going to use. They're going to use this whole border thing and ending ICE. Yeah, the law is the law. Destroying, abolishing ICE is all they're going to talk about. Those 6-foot-tall, mustache-tattooed children, Lori said. Yeah. Even Maxine had to say they were treated well. And so did Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Okay, Carmen, have a great one. Debbie Wasserman Schultz also said they're being treated well. Yeah, because they are. They're treated better now than they were under Obama. Well, everybody knows that. The liberals know that. They're not going to ever say that. My lib friends are not saying anything anymore. Because, Lynn, they probably got to the point where they know it's all a lie. Debbie Downer said facility was in good Homestead. Was good in Homestead, yes. Yeah, she did. She said, it's cheery. They get nice comforters. They're learning things. Or they get to play games. I mean, come on. You can't make this stuff up. Except if you're a liberal Democrat. A globalist elitist. Call that peace group who want open borders to send the trucks. You mean the ones that are funded by George Soros, Barbara? Those people? So, again, I think the president, unfortunately, kind of opened himself up to this. $7.50 a day, how can you be treated bad? Yeah, I mean, sheesh. Let's see. Oh, in other news, quickly before we end here, Bill Shine, a former Fox News co-president, yeah, the Caravan Organization, that's right, Jerry, that one, the one funded by George Soros. Bill Shine, a former Fox News co-president, is going to be taking on a senior communications role at the White House. I think it's going to be in place of Hope Hicks. They haven't really said that. And haven't really given him a title, but they think it's going to be a deputy chief of staff level position. And I believe it's probably going to be a replacement for Hope Hicks, and maybe he'll do a little bit more as well than she did, but we'll see. I wanted to give you, we have just a couple of minutes left. I want to give you a quick Gracie update. Hope you're not getting tired of the Gracie updates. Yesterday, we took Gracie and the other girls, vote for a 2-hour scope. Lori. We took Gracie down to the ocean. Do you know what? We have children, so without food here, that our food bank sends food home. Yep. Yes, Lynn, she had to wear her comfy cone because she's still kind of going after her tail a little bit. Thanks. Thanks, Star. I'll keep giving you Gracie updates. She got to see the ocean for the first time. She had her cone on, but she saw the ocean. I'm sure it was the first time because I don't think the people who had her ever took her out of the house. We're continuing to take her places and do things with her. As I told you before, she has this really, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to call it. Teresa said, love the updates, tail looking better. Jerry, I think so, but not quite sure. She's not biting it, but I'm afraid to take the cone off because I think she might. She has this thing too that when you first put her in a car, did she play in the water? No, she didn't. We didn't get her down to the water, Lori. We just let her look at it yesterday. We'll take her in the future down to the water. But when you put her in the car and you close the door, she absolutely goes berserk. She's got a good life. Will you adopt some of us? Barbara said, what we have to do, what I figured out on my own from trial and error, is that when she once gets in the car, you have to immediately open the door and let her see that she can get out if she wants to. Then close the door, give her a treat. Open the door, close the door, give her a treat. And she pretty much settles down pretty quickly. Yes, I vote for at least 30 minutes more. Barbara, you're killing me here. I think an hour goes by quickly, but it's, it's a lot. It's a long time to keep talking continuously for an hour. I lose my voice after this, by the way. God love her. I know, Lynn. She's trying so hard. She really is. Keep praying for her, continuously, if you will. Everybody, if you would, please retweet this. Teach her in the down command once she's in the car. Yep. You're talking about Gracie. Now I call the vet and check on Lexi. Wayne said. We appreciate you, Susan. Thank you. Thank you, Lori. I appreciate all you guys. I hope you know that. I really, really do. And so look forward to talking to you guys every day. Except Wednesday, of course. Thanks, Susan. Everyone have a great day. All right. A groovy day, Marlene said. Everybody, if you would, yes, please read 2 Timothy 3. You'll see why we're in the place where we are today. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Please retweet this, if you will. The Talk Psychologist. Thank you, everybody. God bless. Take care. All right, everybody on YouTube, thanks so much. We will see you again tomorrow.